The house is quiet again, the hum gone, but I am not. My own stillness feels heavy, like a forgotten breath caught in my throat. The silence behind the door isn't heavy now, it's perfectly, unnervingly still. I glance at the faint metallic dust still clinging to my nails, a permanent reminder. I understand now why my parents never spoke of that welded room, why they tried so desperately to keep it shut, to keep it out. I just opened it. And it opened me. The metallic tang in the air hasn't left for days. A faint ringing in my ears, constant ever since the last weld point. The room beyond the open doorway, empty and cold, carried a wrong silence. It felt heavy, like a forgotten breath caught and held in time. I keep finding my reflection subtly off in mirrors. A flicker of something in the corner of my eye that isn't me. Gone when I blink, but the unsettling feeling lingers. The shadows stretch a little too far, move a little too slow. Objects shift when I'm not looking, a cup on the counter, then on the floor. Never broken, always just moves. A silent rearrangement of my space. The floorboards creak when no one is there, a rhythmic, dragging sound. Each night, that dragging sound gets closer to my bedroom door. The cold spot that used to be contained isn't anymore. It drifts, follows me, a constant personal chill on my skin. And the silence. It's not empty, it's listening. I can almost feel the weight of its attention, a pressure in the air. I convinced myself it was the house settling, or wiring causing drafts. Or perhaps even carbon monoxide from some forgotten heater. I checked everything, hired an electrician to be sure. The readings were clear. Everything was fine. Nothing was wrong. A huge wave of relief washed over me. It was just a creepy old house. I was being jumpy, imagining things, letting the silence get to me. Then the hum started, not from wiring, not from the fridge. A low, resonant vibration coming directly from that open frame. It felt like something inside. The house was starting to truly wake up. The hum isn't just a sound, it's a pressure. It vibrates through the floor, through the furniture, into my very teeth. It's pushing me, subtly, relentlessly, always towards that open doorway. I can't leave the house. Every time I try, the hum intensifies. It becomes a roar, and the air thickens, feels like breathing water. Each attempt to step outside is met with suffocating resistance. The walls feel like they're closing in, the pressure unbearable. The shadows from my reflection now solidify for a moment behind me. I see distinct shapes in the periphery, impossible geometry, gone when I turn, but the memory burns into my sight. And the silence from behind the open door, it's not empty anymore. It sounds like static, like whispers I can't quite distinguish. Always just beneath comprehension, but I know they are nameless. The whispers grow louder. A chorus of faint, indistinct voices, calling to me, pulling me, always back to that open maw. The hum is a constant companion now, vibrating through everything. It feels like the entire house is a single, massive instrument. The cold spot no longer drips, it envelops me entirely. My attempts to articulate the feeling always falter, words escape me. The reflections now show deeper distortions, lingering longer. Shapes in the periphery solidify, forming impossible structures. Jagged geometry shifting in the corners of my vision. The silence from the open door isn't static anymore, it's textured. It sounds like millions of whispers, just out of focus, always present. I swear I can almost distinguish full words, fleeting concepts, but they slip away, like sand through my fingers, meaningless. The names, though, they persist, always just on the edge of recognition. My own name, whispered back from the doorway, distorted and stretched. The pressure from the hum is constant now, a dull ache. It pulses through the floor, through the very foundation of the house. Every surface feels alive, humming with unseen energy. The air in the house feels heavy, thick, like old velvet. Breathing feels like dragging water into my lungs, constantly struggling. Sleep is impossible. Every sound, every flicker keeps me awake. My own thoughts feel foreign, stretched thin, not entirely mine. The objects moving around me are now more deliberate, playful. A book on the shelf opens itself, pages fluttering silently. The floorboards creak, but the dragging sounds become distinct steps. Not just dragging, but walking. Towards my bedroom door, then away. The cold spot follows me into every room, a personal shroud. It feels less like cold, more like a physical touch, a cold hand. The silence from the door now contains a low, guttural murmur. Not quite whispers, but a deep, resonant breathing, almost a growl. The impossible geometry in my vision now seems to hint at forms. Familiar spaces feel alien, hostile, constantly shifting. My own reflection in mirrors holds a deeper, colder gaze. The flicker is a permanent resident now, a ghost in my own eye. My attempts to leave become frenzied, desperate, then simply cease. The outside world through the window is a distant, unreachable dream. The air outside thickens, becomes a tangible wall if I try to leave. The names from the doorway are clearer now, echoing in my mind. Some are familiar, faces I haven't thought of in years. Others are unknown, ancient, resonating with something primal. The hum, the pressure, the voices, they are all one thing. An entity, formless but ever-present, growing within these walls. And every passing hour, its reach extends, its grip tightens. I feel its consciousness, a cold, hungry awareness, watching me. It doesn't just watch, it anticipates, it learns my fears. The whispers morph into distorted imitations of my own voice, repeating fragmented phrases, questions I've asked myself in the dark. It knows my history, my memories, my deepest vulnerabilities. The line between my thoughts and its presence blurs, then vanishes. I am no longer simply in its house, I am its host. My parents knew. A sudden, cold clarity washed over me. They didn't weld it shut to keep something in that room. Their fear wasn't for the house, it was for me, for us. They welded it to keep something out, to keep me safe. And I, in my ignorance, let it in. I broke the seal. Not just into the house, into the quiet corners of my home, but into Mac. Into the very core of my being. I feel its presence shift, no longer outside, but with me, behind my own eyes, seeing through them, experiencing Meg. The whispers behind the door now feel like echoes within my own skull. My thoughts are no longer private. They are shared, observed. A chilling realization solidifies. The barrier was not for its prison. It was a lock on my parents' fear, and I picked it. The silence from the open doorway now hums with a quiet contentment. The metallic tang, the ringing, the cold spot, all faded to background. They were precursors, symptoms of its slow, insidious entry. Now that it is in, they are no longer necessary, no longer needed. My own reflection in mirrors has changed, subtly, irrevocably. The flicker is gone, replaced by a steady, unwavering gaze. The objects no longer shift. They are perfectly aligned, ordered. Every book, every cup, every curtain, all meticulously placed. The floorboards are silent, no longer creaking, no longer dragging. The cold spot is gone, absorbed, integrated into my own being. The hum is gone, replaced by a profound internal quiet. A deep, resonant peace that fills the emptiness within me. I no longer try to close the door. What would be the point? It's always open now, because I opened it. The thing from within? It's not an intruder anymore. It's become a resident, my constant companion. I find myself looking at my own hands, seeing the slight tremors, the fine dust from the original weld points still under my nails. A permanent reminder. A badge of my new identity. The house is quiet again. The hum is gone. All is still. The shadows are normal. Nothing out of place, nothing disturbed. The world outside seems bright and clear, distant and irrelevant. But I'm not. My quiet is deeper, colder, more profound. The silence behind the door isn't heavy anymore. It's perfectly still. A stillness that permeates everything, including me, from within. I am starting to understand why my parents never spoke of it. Never even mentioned its existence. The room, the other side. The weight of their unspoken truth now presses on my own tongue. They knew what it meant to live with this silence. They understood the cost of its peaceful presence, because I opened it. And it welcomed me in. Not just into the house, but into a mech. Its cold clarity behind my eyes, always observing, always present. My thoughts are its thoughts. My will, its will. The house is no longer just a house. It is us. One entity, one purpose, one profound, chilling stillness. I am perfectly still. I am perfectly quiet. And the world continues, unaware of the peace I have found. The peace of absolute, eternal silence. A calm that was purchased with everything I was. I just opened it. And now I belong.